What up, y'all? Welcome to the Fantasy Kings podcast. I'm your host, Peez, joined by my co-host with the most, Collin.
What's up, my man, Peez? How you doing tonight?
Chilling, man. Ready to get after it. I'm excited. Today, we're going to be talking about QBs, the quarterbacks, and kind of what we see based off the ECR, the expert consensus rankings, and, what we think we would see them go for an auction-style draft. So buckle up and get ready to talk about the quarterbacks.
All right. Well, I'm super excited about the quarterbacks. Ooh, especially they're usually the game changers as far as bringing in the most consistent points. So if you got a dud there, yeah, you definitely don't want. So we're going to round off the top 12 today, and we're just going to jump right into it. So why don't you go ahead and start with a fan favorite. Even if he wasn't a part of his team, he would probably still be picking him.
Yep. So the number one quarterback based off the ECR going into this season is going to be Patrick Mahomes the second, also known as the greatest football player we've ever seen.
Pretty good.
So for fantasy purposes right now, ECR is at number one. In a lot of the auction drafts I've been seeing, he's going anywhere between 22 to 25% of the auction budget. So if you're in a $300 league, you're looking at anywhere between $60 and $75 for Patrick Mahomes. That's a little rich for me. What about you, Collin?
Definitely super wealthy there, and I don't have that type of wealth, so I'll spend elsewhere. But do I think that he's worth it from a money perspective? Kind of. I just feel like I'm a little bit out of my comfort zone if I had to spend that much.
Yeah, same thing. With me, like if I can get Mahomes for around like 45 or 50, I'm cool there. But with you're talking over 60, I'm going to be out. I'm going to spend my resources elsewhere.
Absolutely, especially because when they, you get into that actual bidding against someone else, you think that like, hey, this would be max dollar what I want to get, and then could, uptick just a little bit more. I'll jump into the second pick, who I think is just going to be the most popular. It's just a shoo-in, is Josh Allen with his legs as well as his ability to score, through the air. What do you think?
Yeah, Josh Allen at ECR2, I like that. He's got a lot of upside because of his rushing. Now, a little bit of his downside is he's got a lot of turnovers. He turns the ball over a lot. I think he led the league in fumbles and interceptions when you add those two up last year. And it's the same thing. I see him going in the same dollar amount range as Patrick Mahomes, so it's a little rich for me there too.
Absolutely, but I feel comfortable spending potentially up to 50, but even then, that's just assuming that the bid started around in the 30s and it just kind of got out of control, right?
Yeah. I'll price enforce on a quarterback, but I'm not gonna go high.
Right.
If you got Mahomes or Allen for $50 in a $300 league, that's a steal. But I just don't see it happen.
And I'm curious if he's going to lose any of the goal line work this year, which is possible. But I still think overall he's just, second, got to get him.
Yep. And so third in the ECR is going to be Jalen Hurts, another guy who's bringing a lot of quality rushing stats to the table with that. I had Jalen Hurts last year. I loved every second of it.
Almost a league winner in like the majority of leagues. He got you to the dance just by himself. He was so good with those weapons, right?
Yep. And so Jalen Hurts, if I remember correctly, he was around QB 12 last year is where he was going. This year he jumps to number 3. He's obviously great when it comes to rushing. His arm, his throwing stats have also improved. I see him going a tick below, maybe 20% of your budget around there, so around $60. Now, Jalen Hurts, that's another guy I might price enforce, because if I can get him for like 45 to 50, I might be in, but I see him going for a lot more than 20% of the budget.
Absolutely. I'll jump right into the guy right behind it. And this can teeter-totter depending, a little biased, but the most popular pick for number 4 would be Lamar Jackson. He just got paid, so I think they're going to let him run wild. He should throw a little bit more, but that's not where his bread and butter is. You've always got, the majority of your points just from his rushing, and then just some of his throwing touchdowns would be a little bit, icing on top, right?
Yeah, he's another guy that's got the rushing upside. That's what you see with a lot of the top quarterbacks is the rushing upside. But this year they got Lamar Jackson a lot of help. They got OBJ, they drafted Zay Flowers, they got a lot going on for that. So with Lamar Jackson, it comes down to health. Is he going to play 16 games?
Absolutely, but I think with a budget perspective, between like 15 to 20% is also going to be spent just on him alone.
Yeah, I see him. He's going to be in that same Jalen Hurts, same 20% on that. So, all right, moving on to number 5 is Joe Chill. He's the first one that we're talking about that's not really a running quarterback. Now, he is mobile, but that's not really a key part of his game like it is for Josh Allen, for Jalen Hurts, for Lamar Jackson. But he's got 2 stud receivers. He's got T. Higgins. He's got Jamar Chase, who might be one overall.
Right, absolutely. I mean, just his weapons between Higgins and Chase right there. It's just too good to pass up. He's a gunslinger. One of my favorites, I think, outside of Patrick Mahomes. I think he's the next best as far as his overall
actual
arm.
Quarterback. Yeah. And so I've seen him. He's been going in the 15 to 20% range, which is okay. I probably am still out on that much, but that's where you're seeing him.
Right. I'll move on to 6, and I'm super excited to talk about this guy. Huge upside. I'm just hoping. I think I might just invest in him a little bit more in most of my teams. Is going to be Justin Fields. I'm a Bears fan, wearing all my Bears gear today. Always bleed that blue and orange. I'm willing to spend up to, honestly, between 15 to 20% myself just on him. I don't think anyone's really going to go after him. I know he has that rush upside. I think he's going to be good, a lot better with his air yards, with his weapons. DJ Moore, Chase Claypool, and Mooney obviously is there. I think his tight end work's going to be there. I'm just super excited to get him. So I'm willing to spend up to 15 to 20%, around $50 max, hopefully. But I think that's fair.
Yeah, and that's what you're seeing is, he's a guy who's got a lot. I mean, I think he rushed for 1,100 yards last year. So he's going to be looking for...
He was a top 20 running back. I mean, he was phenomenal.
Yeah, so he's got a lot of upside, if you're willing to take the risk, because, I mean, the passing isn't all there yet. Hopefully it will be this year for Bears fans, but you never know. So next on number 7 on the ECR is going to be Justin Herbert. Now, Herbert had a little bit down year last year. I saw him going in the 12 to 15% budget range. But he, last year he only had 25 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. I think he had like 4,500 yards.
I was a little disappointed, but yes, he's got all the potential. He can boom over anybody, I think, every week. But consistently, I don't think he had more than a couple games averaging more than 2 throwing touchdowns.
Well, and the thing is, but last year the Chargers were decimated by injury, including Herbert, who had that in week 2. He got his ribs broken, and he had to deal with that for 6 weeks. So I'm looking for a big rebound for Justin Herbert this year.
Yeah, next guy I'm going to just come in right after him. I'm super excited for as well. I think this is kind of the reason why you did so good with Christian Kirk last year. I'm dropping a little spoiler alert with T-Law, Trevor Lawrence. He's got weapons. Calvin Ridley coming there. Christian Kirk is there. Travis Etienne, he's going to be slinging the rock. He runs a little bit. He throws. Yep. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be really between that 10 to 15% budget. But I'm comfortable paying that.
Yeah, he's the guy I'm targeting is Trevor Lawrence for sure, the prince that was promised. I think he's one guy that might slide under the radar in some auctions, get him there. So the next one we've got is going to be Deshaun Watson. Voldemort, he who must not be named. He had a terrible season last year after sitting out basically 30 games with massage issues. But it's one of those things. If is he going to get back to the Houston era Deshaun Watson? Because in Houston he was a baller.
He was.
So and can he get back to that? I
think he can. I just think that they're a run-first team, so it just depends on how they use him this year, right? But I think the upside's there nonetheless. You can't really argue with that, and I think he'll be around that late. And I'll kind of round off, jump into the double digits here with, a fan favorite of Dak Prescott over underwhelming, at least to Cowboys fans' expectations, but everyone else knows he's just got the potential.
He's a solid quarterback.
Yeah, he's good. He's just not Super Bowl winning good. But who knows? He has the talent, and he has all the faith and trust in the Cowboys and the management and the staff. I think he'll go, depending for the right person. It always seems just like America's team. Cowboys fans are in every draft.
Cowboys players always are overpaid for.
I could see him going for 10%. I could see him going up to 25% because someone's drunk and not paying attention. But
and then that's always happening. So now 11 in the ECR is going to be Tua Tagovailoa, who has all the weapons in the world. Waddle, Hill, Miami's got that run and gun offense. If he stays healthy, he'll be a great value pick. I see him going in about the 10% range right now, and anywhere from like 7 to 10%. I think if you want to wait on quarterback and you want to take the risk, 2 is solid.
Totally agree. And I just think you can't beat that just with his Tyreek Hill and Waddle on the opposite ends. And I'll go with the 12th pick, which I think rightfully so because he's a dual threat, is Daniel Jones for the Giants. I mean, he could run. He's another one of those quarterbacks who can, average more than 50 yards, it seems like, per game. And he could pop to, over 100 yards. And he could also throw for 100 to 250 easily with some touchdowns. So I'm excited about him. It just depends on how my strategy goes with budget, but I think I'd be comfortable paying 10 to 15% for him. I would want to be searching for like 10% at the most, though.
Yeah, so that's what we've got for our top 12 on the ECR. What we're feeling on how they look in an auction. Mahomes, like I said, going anywhere between 22 and 25%, all the way to Daniel Jones. I would target him anywhere between 7 and 10%. So that's going to end our quarterback episode. Stay tuned. We've got wide receivers and running backs coming next. Thanks for watching the Fantasy Kings podcast. When you play fantasy,
play for the crown.
Play for the crown.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Fantasy Football Kings. You can always reach out to us on Twitter at FFB_Kings or like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're available wherever you get podcasts, so don't forget to download, subscribe, review, and rate 5 stars.